The largest hurdle that must be overcome in order to develop a sustainable economic system is changing consumer behavior. Consumers should not, however, be blamed for their current selection of goods that are not made in a sustainable fashion. The blame should, rather, be placed on the lack of information consumers need to make informed choices in their purchases. This is necessary to differentiate between anything from electronics to paper towels to shoes. So how can consumers be informed about the environmental impact of the products they choose to buy? The answer: give them the facts about the production and transportation of manufactured goods. When people purchase food, drinks, or medicine, they have full knowledge about the product. For food and drinks, there is a nutrition facts label. This label gives consumers information about the nutrient content and the ingredients found in the good. Likewise, when people purchase medicine, the product will contain a drug facts label. This label gives directions for use, shows warnings, and lists ingredients found in the medicine. Both of these labels are used because it has been deemed the right of consumers to have this information. Both of these labels also ensure safety and quality. Likewise, consumers have the right to know the environmental impact of the products they buy. Thus, I propose that all manufactured goods include a production and transportation facts label, which would be administered in a similar fashion as nutrition facts and drug facts. The draft I have made for a production and transportation facts label describes the impact of one packaged item. It is designed to be simple, clear, and concise. There are 7 aspects of information addressed on this label. The first is a 5-level rating of a product's environmental impact, which is based on the information described on the rest of the label. Goals for manufactured goods to have a lower impact and thus to have a lower impact score on the label. The second is the greenhouse gas emissions that are released from the production of the item. This is broken into 2 parts, one for carbon dioxide, and the second is for all other released greenhouse gases. The emissions are measured in pounds. The third is the energy source used at the production plant. This describes the percentage of an energy source, like coal, oil, wind, or solar, that is used to produce the packaged item. The fourth informs consumers on the distance that materials were transported for production. There are intervals based on the percentage of materials that are transported from 5 ranges of distance. The fifth lists the form of transportation used to transport the packaged item. The sixth lists the percentage of raw and recycled materials that were used. The seventh informs consumers how to properly dispose of the good if they are finished using the item. This label will have 3 major implications. The first is that it offers readily available information for consumers about the environmental impact of available manufactured goods. This may change consumer behavior by making consumers more conscious of their choices. This will also bring truth to the greenwashing taking place in advertisements right now. The second implication is that this label gives companies the incentives to reduce their environmental impact because consumers will have an increased demand for these kinds of products. Companies may also pursue high marks on this label as a means to gain a market edge versus their competition. The third implication is that this provides an initial framework for a sustainable economy. How else can our economy become sustainable without this information being put on display? There will undoubtedly be some difficulties in obtaining this information and implementing the label on manufactured goods. This is, however, not a valid reason to disregard the possibility of such a label. According to the article called "Firms Start to See Climate Change as Barrier to Profit," written in the Washington Post by Juliet Alperin on September 21st this year, companies are beginning to show increased willingness to disclose the extent to which they're contributing to global warming and what they're doing to keep it from harming their businesses. Also, the article states that many S&P 500 companies see climate change as a threat to their bottom lines, citing concerns including a potential shortage of raw materials and supply chain disruptions because of severe weather. Now is the time to inform consumers of the impact of their purchases. Now is the time to let the consumers drive changes in business practices. Now is the time to incentivize changes in business practices. Now is the time to capitalize on the growing willingness of companies to cooperate in improving their business model. Thank you for your time and for your consideration.